How's it going, everybody? It's your boy, Matty Milligan, and this is the Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Today, I am going to be talking to you about imposter syndrome. Ooh. Do you feel like an imposter? Do you feel like a fraud? Honestly, when I was first starting out, I always felt like an imposter. And even to this day, there's times when stepping outside of my comfort zone, I totally feel like I don't deserve it. There's so many of those times where that happens. And this is a common thing. Not only entrepreneurs get this, business people get this when they, corporate people, I would rather say, as they move up throughout the corporate structure, they definitely have this from time to time. And a lot of celebrities have this. I was on the phone actually with a woman yesterday, and it was something where there was another company that was pretty big, and she was afraid about releasing content because she was going to compare herself to them. And there was something that Jordan Peterson said in his last book that I thought was really good. This book, 12 Rules for Life. It's a very cool idea that he had about how you can't compare yourself to you can't compare yourself to who someone else is today. You can only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. So a lot of us, we go out there and we expect on the first try that we're going to be the best at something. And we go out there and we're comparing ourselves and measuring ourselves up to these all-stars that have spent thousands of hours honing their craft and perfecting what they do. And we go out there and we try once and we don't live up to it and we get all down on ourselves, and then we're like, oh man, like I feel like I don't belong in this space, and I don't feel that I'm worthy of the success. So we basically just shoot ourselves in the foot right away before we even get things a second try. So if you're ever out there and you're feeling like a fraud, you just, the only way to really push through that discomfort is to take action. I know it sounds stupid simple and it's a cliche. It's like take massive action and you'll get those results, but it rings true. You just have to really start implementing. And the only way to overcome that imposter syndrome is to outwork your self doubt. It's really the only way. You just have to keep pushing through and stop feeling like you need to be the best at everything as well. I remember when I was first starting out, I was always like, oh, I want to be the best. And I still tell people this a lot where I'm like, oh, I want to be one of the best marketers of all time. But I'm really in it for the long haul. So when there are those times when I feel like I've kind of plateaued, those are the times when I'm definitely have to really push a lot harder. And becomes boring when you hit those plateaus. That's one thing as well. And those are really on those plateaus when you're getting success is where you're going to feel imposter syndrome the most. So that's another thing that a lot of people struggle with is really just when you hit a plateau, you have to keep working through it. You can't just rest on your laurels and stay at that current level of skill that you're at that period. You have to just keep practicing and showing up every day and pushing through and improving through things. But I think for a lot of people too, they see these other authorities and celebrities and they see them on TV and they see them with these huge YouTube channels, and they're like, wow, how can someone like me who has a small channel of no one ever live up to these people who have channels with several million followers, all on all sorts of different distribution channels on social media or even on TV or newspaper. But you can't keep comparing yourselves to all of those other people. It's just unfair to yourself to have those expectations of yourself from the get-go. Maybe later on you can, but when you're first starting out, you can't really have that thought where you're like, look, I'm the best just because I say I am. It doesn't really work that way. And you have to push through when you feel like you get that kind of fraud state of mind. Like I was trying to say before, when I first started out, I felt like people like these fraud police were going to kick open my door and tell me that like I'm not, I can't be creating content. I can't be running ads. I can't be running funnels. I can't be putting myself out there. And a lot of it too, in some cases, I think is external because you might create a piece of content and put it out there and then no one watches it. And that kind of validates the idea in your head already that you feel like an imposter. But that happens with everyone. Someone said recently, it was either, I think, this guy Dana Derricks or this guy Akbar Sheik, who are big kind of influencers, I guess, in the funnel space, but they said something along the lines of the only people who don't get imposter syndrome are imposters. And that rings pretty true because those are probably the people who are actually doing very scandalous things and they don't feel like it's wrong. It's like a lot of these bad guys you see, right? If you think of Darth Vader, like I'm sure in his case, he thought he was doing the right thing, but in fact, he was actually just the villain the whole time. So, and he probably thought like that he himself was actually doing right, but that he wasn't the evil one. But everyone else the whole time is like, dude, you're totally the imposter. The whole time he's like, oh, I don't feel like, an imposter. Like I'm Vader. I'm so powerful. I guess towards the end at least. And then eventually, yeah, he basically just, it caught up with him. But so again, when you're feeling like you're, you have imposter syndrome and you just need to get outside of your head, the easiest way to get out of, yeah, can't even speak. When you have imposter syndrome, the easiest way for you to get into momentum is to just start taking action. And then again, you just have to outwork your self-doubt. When you start doubting yourself and you're not actually working, it's easy to get frustrated when you don't see those immediate results. But you need to be in this for the long term. Think about where you could be in 5 years from now if you started doing something and just putting in work and practicing every single day for the next 5 years. Think about where you would be. And it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're 10 years old or you're 95 years old. If you're 95 right now and when you're 100 years old, you want to be a champion, you just need to take action starting right now. It doesn't matter really what it is, but you just have to start practicing now and showing up every single day and putting in the work. And our society is so designed against that. And it's hard too because I'm sure you're bombarded like me from ads every day that tell me that I'm not enough. But here's another cliche, of course, that you're already enough. There's no thing that you can buy out in the world that's going to make you not enough. You're already enough. It's society that basically puts all this pressure on you and makes you think that you're not normal, quote unquote. And so you're like, oh, I need to buy all these things. And then once I buy all those things, I'm complete. But all you really do when you buy stuff is just materialistic stuff, is you just keep consuming it. And it doesn't actually make you happy. What will make you happy is taking action. It's funny, it has this really cool psychological effect. When you're kind of stuck and the ball isn't rolling, man, it sucks. But even if you're just getting rolling a little bit, you feel better instantly. It's such a good way to just feel better, like taking a little bit of action. Like again, even if it's just writing down your goals, even if it's just doing one little thing to move you 0.001% closer to where you want to eventually be and get your result and become the person that you ultimately want to be, that you desire to be, then you just have to start moving forward. So this is more of like a motivational podcast, I think, today, whereas normally I'm talking about business stuff, but I think it is a big topic in business though, where a lot of people do feel like they have imposter syndrome and they feel like they're not enough and they feel like, again, there's some crook and they're like the Wizard of Oz, right? Hiding behind the mirror and they're putting up this whole show and this whole facade. But in the meantime, anyone can just come and find out that there's just some little man behind the curtain pulling the strings. But yeah, I would really, I don't know. It's a big topic, and I'm sure I'm going to talk a lot about this in the future. But yeah, that was really my 2 cents on imposter syndrome. When you feel like you are one, like that's normal. Just the only way to get over it is just move forward and just really implement the next steps in your business, I guess, or even if that fact, heck, what other part of your lives, your relationships, just take action, like find out how to do that. I should not be talking about relationships because I'm not a relationship expert, to be honest. So if you have any comments, just leave them, I guess, below. And if there's any topics you want me to talk about, please let me know as well. If you have any questions, just feel free to contact me in the information below this video or where this podcast is. And this is the second episode, 2 days in a row. Wow, we're really back into it for episode number 9 here. I can't believe it. I'm in the process, I think, of getting together as well a maybe an intro video for these just to make it a little bit more interesting. I did purchase a really sweet domain recently and have been working on a logo. It's an idea that I thought of, and what I usually do is when I get ideas, I write them down in this document, and then 99% of those ideas I'm never going to get to in my life, and I can just give them to other people if they need a business idea at any point. But this one idea has been with me for 3 or 4 months, and it's just been gnawing at me. And finally, I was like, all right, like let's see if the domain is available. A cool, awesome domain was available, and I'm not going to register any of their social media for it yet, but it's a cool domain name, to be honest, and I'm really going to roll with it, and I'm super excited about it, honestly. So that's one thing that I'm going to be working on in the future as well, and an intro for these videos, and a few other content channels that I'm going to be creating as well. That should be pretty cool. And yeah, I think I've talked about this before, where it's like this is the Underground Marketing Conspiracy podcast, and then, or probably just the Underground Marketing Conspiracy is good, and then I have so many freaking ideas for content. Anyways, hope you learned a lot today. I have some really other good ideas as well that I'm going to be covering that I wrote down right here. I recently quit my mastermind, so I'm going to be talking about that. It was a pretty crazy story, actually, and how I fired some clients. That was one thing. How I acquired new ones. A lot of content on organic stuff, some stuff I'm going to be talking about, how I'm never going to be running Facebook ads ever again, and probably not as much mindset stuff, to be honest. People always ask me about mindset coaching, and it's one thing I've really thought about, but I don't know, for the most part, I think I'm just going to be focusing on really marketing and sales and other business related topics. But mindset is a pretty big topic as well, I think, for the long term, because sure, you're putting in that work. And I think actually, I think that is something I will cover in the future if you guys want to hear more about that. But if you guys have any topic ideas, like I said, just let me know. And I will see you very soon. Have yourself a great day. Next video, I will actually be shooting up north because I'm going up north for a few days to Quebec avec un ami, and yeah, we're basically just going off the grid for a few days, but I'm still going to be shooting a few videos and editing those, so that way I have a continuous stream of content I can just release coming up. Talk soon. Have a great day. Goodbye.